Shalom, and welcome to the new Jewish Pro-Life Show, the third episode of the new Jewish Pro-Life Show. I'm Cecily Routman, founder and president of the Jewish Pro-Life Foundation. Welcome and thank you for watching. I have a few things on my mind that I want to talk about today, things that are usually on my mind, but in terms of a current event, as we are recording this, it's Monday morning, January 10th, 2022. The New Jersey State Legislature is voting on a very expansive abortion law called the Freedom of Choice Act. This bill was originally sponsored several years ago after the New York State Assembly passed the Reproductive Health Act, and it's basically based on that New York law. It was reintroduced earlier this year by the original sponsors, two Jewish senators. Last Thursday, the Senate and the Assembly there passed their own versions of this bill along party lines, reflective of what happened in 1970 when it was a Jewish vote that tipped the legislature into legalizing abortion there. So it is with an Orthodox Jewish assemblyman in New Jersey that is pushing this bill to be passed. So we have been asked to send an alert out to our lists about contacting New Jersey senators and assembly people to oppose passing this act today as a way, right, to save a lot of lives and a lot of suffering, and also to atone for the sin that we committed in 1970 in New York. The reason I feel that this abortion bill is being pushed so strongly by Jewish politicians is because they belong to this majority of Jewish people, of course. I'm always talking about these people that have adopted a secularism or a feminism or a scientism, whatever, as a substitute for Judaism. And remember, at the Jewish Pro-Life Foundation, we are making the original pro-life religion pro-life again. And because these people have become very secular and assimilated and, very self-interested, and it's not actually all their fault. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I do our work so passionately, is because for many, 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 many years, people who understand, Jewish people who understand the seriousness of this issue have remained silent. And so the propaganda and the corrupted Jewish messaging has had a free run to indoctrinate so many people, Jews included. So somebody has to say something about this, or they'll never get the real true message, which is that Judaism is a life-affirming religion and everything about abortion goes against everything about Jewish law. And it's not just happening in the New Jersey State Legislature and the constituents of these people, but it starts very early. And I have talked about this before. I'll mention it again, that as a young Jewish woman growing up in a suburban neighborhood, we were taught that what most Jewish women and men are taught, that abortion is okay in Judaism. Once the baby starts to be born, you can't touch it. Now, just as an aside, of course, with partial birth abortion, which is infanticide for real, Jews seem to have not been taught that either anymore. It's gone beyond that to it's okay whenever, right, to kill a baby. And I just think that if it's not okay to kill a baby once it's born, it's not okay to kill a baby before it's born, because a baby is a baby wherever it lives. And it reminds me of, in many generations of past, it's been okay to kill a Jew wherever they lived, whether they were in the womb or out of the womb, or wherever country they were living in. So for any Jew to say, just because a baby's in the womb or lives in a place that's not outside the womb, it's okay to kill that baby. I mean, that just shows a complete lack of understanding of our history and on a gut level. So, yes, this brings me to what another area where Jewish people are terribly misguided and misinformed about this, and that is our college-age Jewish men and women. And it doesn't help that we're in college forever. Our intellectual development and skill is so important, right, to Jewish people. I think education is wonderful, but somewhere along the line, they're not getting educated about the growth and development of a child in the womb from conception, and they're not being educated about what abortion really does, how it poisons and burns and starves and dismembers babies who can feel pain. So these kinds of facts are withheld from our Jewish young men and women, and needs to be shared with them. So that's one of the reasons I'm here today, to talk about Hillel. When we first started our work in 2006, 2007, 2008, I would send out literature and brochures to Hillels around the country. And there was some positive reception to those, but I suspect eventually they end up, in the garbage. I know now I don't think it would be possible to get even one flyer into the hands of these kids. For one thing, they're all on their phones. So we need to be able to message them through their technology. Now, we used to be very successful at Facebook ads. We would run an ad, Jewish and abortion-minded, check us out first. For a long time, Facebook and Google thought that we were a pro-abortion group, and they ran our ads, and eventually they realized, no, we're just trying to intervene before the baby is killed and the mother is wounded spiritually or physically, and they started blocking our ads. So that doesn't work anymore. I'm hoping these shows and our website information is widely shared. Please share these with younger Jewish men and women. However, so I've been thinking about one project we'd like to launch in 2022 is to reach Hillel some other way. And I think we might have to do it by sponsoring events there at Hillel. I don't know if they'll let us. Now that school is back in session, I do want to contact them and ask them, if they'd be willing. So I want to share a little bit with you about sponsorship opportunities at Hillel, because we will be fundraising to pay for these. Sponsorship for events is very expensive, thousands and thousands of dollars. And we shall see, if they prefer to have monetary support over blocking our messaging. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to share this with you. Here are sponsorship opportunities at Hillel from their website. 1,200 Jewish professionals attend Hillel International's Global Assembly. 100,000 students participate in Hillel events on campus each year, and 250,000 high school students and their parents read the Hillel College Guide. So, as you can see, there is a great opportunity here. To become a Hillel sponsor, for organizations looking to reach Jewish college students, alumni, and young professionals, there is no better partner than Hillel International, the world's largest Jewish campus organization. Whether online, in print, or in person, Hillel delivers targeted messaging from a trusted source. There are many ways to connect with your audience by partnering with Hillel. And they go through digital advertising and event sponsorship and the Hillel International Global Assembly and the Hillel College Guide. So I am going to contact Hillel now that they are back in school and see if they'd be willing to talk with us about sponsoring some events. I just think it's so sad that they only get one side of this issue. I mean, does anybody remember, choose life that thou mayest live, thou and thy seed? Does anybody remember the Psalms that talk about how we were formed in our mother's wombs, that God knew us even before that, wants to bring us into the world to do his will and do good deeds. Does anybody remember that we were the first religion in human history to ban child sacrifice? I'd like to remind these people about that. Does anybody remember about Jewish business ethics, right? We're supposed to be transparent. We're not supposed to use our business skills to destroy life, to defraud people, to make huge profits at the expense of the suffering of others. Everything that the abortion industry represents is against, Jewish law and ethics. And so I want to be able to send that message there somehow. So the next population that I'm aware of every day is the Jewish population in Israel. And just as the pro-abortion rhetoric is really ramped up in America right now, anticipating a Supreme Court decision in the summer about Roe, so it is ramping up a lot in Israel because the health minister there wants to expand abortion access there and do away with some of the limitations and restrictions that have been placed on Jewish women in Israel. And although those are not particularly effective, as we've shared before, most abortions that are requested through the termination committees there are approved, and the ones that aren't, or the people that can afford it, go to private doctors. And there's no political movement there. There's no social pro-life movement there. So it's an unspoken issue. The people there that use abortion are just, they're clueless about what they're doing. And it has been so sanitized and so steeped in this rights language. That's another thing. Judaism is our culture, and our religion is based on responsibility, not rights. Okay, so I want to share this with you. So this article was written January 6th by a woman in Israel called "The Religious Case for Abortion Rights. Getting an abortion in Israel made me realize what Americans are getting wrong." And so this woman shares about her first pregnancy, and when her daughter was 6 months old, she got pregnant again and didn't want to go through another pregnancy and birth, and so she decided to terminate the pregnancy. She and her husband decided to terminate the pregnancy. And this is what I wanted to share, particularly about this article. She said, "When we decided to end the pregnancy, I told only my mother and a few of my closest friends. I still feel a lump in my throat when I think about it and as I write this piece. I was pro-choice long before I ever needed to make that choice myself. I attended my first abortion rights march in Washington with my mother when I was 13, holding my now NOW poster high and proud. I never imagined that one day I would be seriously considering the possibility of abortion becoming illegal in America, or that I would need one myself." And then this is what she says. "This goes to show you where we're at, people. I was living in Israel when I chose to end my pregnancy. This might sound shocking, but in Israel, abortion is a non-issue. It has been legal since 1977. The subject does not figure in election campaigns or in political ads. Striking down the legality or government funding of abortions is not a cause of any political party, not even the most right-wing. Why?" And this is what she says. "Because life and the protection of it are sacred in Judaism, and when the physical or mental health of a woman is threatened by an unwanted pregnancy, it is the right thing to do to allow her to end that pregnancy." That is totally not true. It's completely fabricated. The first part is true. Why? Because life and the protection of it are sacred in Judaism. And when the physical life of the mother is imminently threatened by a pregnancy, it is the right thing to do to end that pregnancy. So what does she do? She says the mental health of a woman, which is not Jewish law, it's not Judaism, okay? it has been corrupted to include this. And she talks about an unwanted pregnancy. So if you have a pregnancy and you don't want it, then it's okay, to terminate that pregnancy, which basically means to have that baby killed. That is not what Judaism says. Then she goes on to say, for all its flaws, Israel, a nation literally founded by the Bible, at least recognizes the need to protect this right. But it doesn't, don't you know? If you're in the womb, you do not have a right to life in Israel. You do not have a right to be protected in Israel. And she says, not despite, but because of it is a nation guided by religion, Israel has a far more humane abortion policy than the United States, even now, with Roe v. Wade still intact. I would say, humane for whom? It's certainly not humane for the baby. This is based on misguided lies and indoctrination. And it's also, if you're a smart person, you have a good mind, you can use it to justify anything in your own self-interest. And without a public voice for the unborn, a public pro-life movement, people like this get away with this messaging, get away with these lies, and no one is there to counter them. So nobody learns. So she talks about how this is so important because in Israel, there is no separation of church and state or synagogue and state. And I would always talk about how even in the most progressive countries, right, you have a criminal law. You're not allowed to kill an innocent human being. There are criminal penalties for that. That is not only criminal according to the legal code, it is morally unacceptable. And you can't just go around killing and abusing people in a civilized country because you don't like them or you think they're inconvenient. So there has to be a law that provides protection for innocent people. Again, no matter how young they are, no matter how old they are, no matter where they live, this is the kind of information and the kind of perspective that these people lack. And then she goes on to say, not only was my abortion permitted at 7 weeks, but it was paid for by the government. In other words, by Israeli taxpayers, the majority of whom are traditional and right-wing. When I read this, I am just so disturbed because this is a very nice woman. I'm sure she's a very nice woman, and she believes in what she thinks. She believes in what she's been taught. She believes in the attitudes. But I would like to know, after talking to her and showing her what happens in an abortion procedure, if she could live with the way she thinks. This idea that it should be paid by the taxpayers, something that is so objectionable, so morally reprehensible, so egregious. In her mind, it's okay for other people to be paying for her abortion when that baby would be a contributing member to society, and it was God's will for that baby to be conceived and born. This is chutzpah, born of ignorance. In fact, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is being sued this year to allow taxpayer-funded Medicaid abortion. And we were asked to submit a friend of the court brief to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which we did. And we talked about all the reasons why any person of faith, Jew or non-Jew, should not have to be coerced into paying to destroy a human life, whether it's in the womb or out of the womb. I mean, to me, this is like asking us to pay for killing 2-year-olds or 4-year-olds or 10-year-olds because somebody decides they don't want them anymore. And it's just wrong. God has been very good to us, Jewish people, in terms of our wealth and the abundance that we have. We contribute to many different charities. We fund many different worthwhile causes. Please do not ask us to destroy human life. When, of course, there's so many people that want to adopt these children. There's extremely great medical care now. Very few women have to worry at all about life and death issues when they're carrying their children. Unfortunately, and I will share this next time, the whole science of prenatal testing has been corrupted. It's giving up to 80% of false positives for fetal abnormalities. And doctors pressure people, they really pressure them to abort children that would have been otherwise healthy live births. So there's in so many ways, medically, right, socially, politically, the press is on to kill human beings in the womb. And as a Jew with a history that I understand, I just feel that in order to stop the expansion of killing people outside of the womb, we have to stop it. We have to stop killing these people. We have to stop illegal killing of people in the womb. One more article that I'd like to show you today is about the number of abortions in the world. This has gotten out of hand, people. I don't care how dedicated you are to zero population growth or how concerned you are about the effects of human beings on the planet in terms of the environment or the climate or whatever. The numbers of people dying from abortion, deliberately being killed through abortion, is beyond imagination. So this isn't just, what's going on in your local Planned Parenthood clinic, hundreds of babies being murdered there, but this is globally. I want to show you this. So the name of the article at Life News is Abortion Killed Over 12 Times More People Than COVID Last Year. According to global health statistics, abortion killed 12 times as many people in 2021 as COVID did. A heartbreaking reminder about the prevalence of abortion, statistics compiled by Worldometers indicate that there were over 42.6 million abortions worldwide in 2021. The independent site collects data from governments and other reputable organizations and then reports the data along with estimates and projections based on those numbers. It reveals 42,640,209 people died from abortions last year. And when compared with COVID, the number of people dying from abortion dwarfs the number of COVID deaths. Worldometers indicates that approximately 3.5 million people died from COVID worldwide in 2021. And that's a lot of people, and it may or may not be accurate. And we're not going to get into the many controversies about COVID testing or COVID statistics. The life of every human being matters, and no one's death is valued more or more important than anyone else's. Every human being is a unique living person who has value because he or she is one of a kind, irreplaceable, and made in the image of God. So while we've been obsessed with COVID and deaths because of it, many, many more lives have been lost through deliberate termination of pregnancy. I was talking with somebody just the other day about the New Jersey law that is being pushed through the state legislature today, and God willing, it will not pass. And I was saying, back in the day, you could say, oh my goodness gracious, just like that Jewish assemblyman in New York thought that, oh my goodness, some girl would be put in a bad situation, she ought to be able to have an abortion, maybe she's in an abusive relationship, You can't say that about abortion anymore. It's healthcare. It's promoted by a profiteering industry that cares little for women and none at all for children. And these numbers represent billions of dollars in profits. I always say if there was no money in abortion, it wouldn't be legal. It wouldn't be tied to international monetary policy. It wouldn't be so aggressively promoted if somebody wasn't making a lot of money on it. Let's just remember where we've come from, and we can no longer believe the lies. We are killing innocent human beings. The push to do that is driven by profiteering industrialists who benefit very, very much by lying and sharing inaccurate information about what abortion is and what it does. So we're here at the Jewish Pro-Life Foundation looking for opportunities to share our life-affirming message here and in Israel. We do have someone looking into accessing the Israel market there. So God willing, we'll be able to do that in 2022. Just as a reminder, you can go to our website, jewishprolifefoundation.org, and you can download our PowerPoint. It's called Judaism, the Original Pro-Life Religion. There's lots of great information in there, and please do that and share it with other people. You can also download a book of our flyers there and share those. We put our flyers in online Jewish media and in print every month. We have some very supportive newspapers now that are carrying our flyers. We do have a healing program. There's so many Jewish men and women who suffer after abortion. They suffer silently, and they're very confused about that because they're taught that it's virtuous, and it's Jewish supported to do away with your child. So they're confused, and they're unhappy, and they're depressed, and they want to die. They want to kill themselves, and it's just terrible. The whole after abortion aftermath is very, very, very destructive. So we do offer a healing program. We're going to be holding it in March on an afternoon. And if you'd like to register for that, you can do that with our facilitator. I'll just share her information with you. Abortion hurts. It's time to heal. So our program is confidential. It's Teshuva based. Barbara Beth 54 at protonmail.com is our facilitator. You can use that email or phone her at 347-566-7898. And our program is a real nice opportunity to learn how to heal from abortion loss and to start a healing journey. So we're very happy and grateful to be able to offer this. Again, it's in March, so check out our website for more information about that. We have several rabbis on our board of directors, two of whom are pulpit rabbis. One has an online and brick and mortar synagogue in Queens, New York. That's Rabbi Menashe Bovit. And the other is Rabbi Shlomo Nachman. His services and Torah studies are online. Please visit our website and use the worship tab to learn more about these pro-life rabbis and how to access their programming. It's really so uplifting and wonderful to be in Shabbat services or Torah studies where the rabbi understands how sacred life is and promotes life and offers a contrast to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rabbis who have bought into this abortion messaging. If you'd like to support our work, you can go to the website and there's a donation tab there. We do offer a welcome packet if you'd like to join our cause. There's no membership fee or anything like that. If you contact us, you can go to jewishprolifefoundation.org and contact us, or you can call me at 412-758-3269, and I'll be happy to send you a welcome packet. It's got the print copy of our PowerPoint and some of the articles I've written, some brochures, and a bunch of tchotchkes that I like to give to our friends. There's bumper stickers and pens and pins and all sorts of nice things. So you can enjoy and share those items as well. Thank you very much for listening today and watching. Please share the video. And until next time, let's remember to pray to Hashem, for our continued health and happiness, the continued prosperity of Jews and non-Jews everywhere in terms of spiritual prosperity and happiness. Let's keep in mind the spiritual dilemma that our pro-abortion brothers and sisters have been victimized by, and who don't understand that they are being used as puppets to promote and support ongoing eugenics and Holocaust. Let's pray for them that Hashem opens up their minds and hearts, and that they have a place to come then when they do realize how precious life is. Until next time, shalom, and have a great day.